Let's talk about a secret superpower that every writer has, but not everyone knows how to use. It's the edits. And no, I'm not just talking about fixing typos. I'm talking about a process that can literally transform your writing, giving your ideas a kind of power and clarity you didn't even know they had. You know the feeling, right? We have all been there. You write a sentence, you hate it. You rewrite it, and then you just stare at it for what feels like an hour, moving a comma back and forth, and poof, your entire creative flow is just gone. It's so frustrating. But what if I told you there's a much, much better way to do this? And that right there, that's the whole secret. It's the key that unlocks everything. Mastering the timing of your editing is what separates that painful, frustrating struggle from a state of pure creative flow. Okay, so first up, we have to talk about the main villain of this story. It's that nagging little voice inside your head, the one that second-guesses every single word you put on the page. Yep, we're talking about your inner critic. This is the source of that writer's paralysis. See, when you try to write and edit at the exact same time, you're basically handing the microphone over to this critic. It screams for perfection on the very first try, which is totally impossible, and it is the #1 cause of writer's block. It stops you dead in your tracks. So what do? Well, the solution is pretty simple, but it's not always easy. You have to give yourself permission to write a terrible first draft, a messy one. Your only job is to get the ideas out of your head and onto the page. Don't worry about spelling, don't worry about grammar, just write. Kick that critic out of the room until the whole first draft is done. All right, so you've got your messy first draft. Congratulations. Now the real magic can finally begin. The very first step in a good edit is to sharpen your language, to turn those vague, fuzzy ideas into vivid, precise statements. Let's see what that actually looks like. Look at that! Such a tiny change, but it makes a huge difference, doesn't it? Vague words like this or it at the beginning of a sentence are little red flags. The moment you replace this with the actual subject, the surprise ending, all the confusion just vanishes. You give your reader instant clarity. Okay. Here's your first actionable trick. I want you to think of this as a search and destroy mission. Your targets are words that take up space but add zero meaning. They're like weeds in the garden of your writing. And these three, they're the most wanted offenders. When you spot a really, a very, or a just in your draft, don't just hit delete. I want you to see them as an opportunity. They're like big flashing signs pointing to a spot where a much stronger, more descriptive word is begging to be used. And here we go. Perfect example. Really hungry. Sure, it gets the job done. But famished, you can feel that word. It has texture. You've just replaced 2 weak words with one single powerful one, making your sentence shorter, stronger, and way more memorable. Next up is something we are all guilty of at some point. Awkward, clunky repetition. You know, we all have our favorite words or phrases, and they just have a way of sneaking into our writing again and again, making it sound, well, clumsy. Just listen to that. Sea Life Park. Sea Life Park. Your brain just hits a speed bump, right? It totally pulls you out of the story. And the tricky part here is you can't just look up Sea Life Park in a thesaurus. So what do? Well, here's a handy 2-part solution. First, see if you can just combine the sentences. A lot of the time, that alone does the trick. But the real fun is in step 2. Get creative. Instead of saying the name again, describe it. Give it a new, more interesting identity. And boom, look at the result. We went from clunky and repetitive to smooth and engaging. And not only is the problem fixed, but the sentence is now way more informative and interesting. You've added value while cleaning it up. That's some next-level editing right there. Okay, I've got a pro tip for you that seriously works wonders. Read your writing out loud. Your eyes are trained to skim and fill in the blanks, so they miss stuff. But your ears? Oh, your ears are ruthless. They will catch every weird phrase, every clunky sentence, and every single repetitive word. Seriously, don't skip this step. All right, let's talk about grammar. And hey, don't worry, you do not need to go memorize an entire style guide. Most of us just have a few little blind spots. If you can just master these common ones, you're going to see a huge improvement in your writing. Here are 2 super common punctuation traps. First, in American English, the commas and periods always go inside the quotation marks. I know, it might feel weird, but that's the rule. Second, the colon. Here's a super simple test. If the words before the colon can't stand alone as a complete sentence, you don't need the colon. That first example is wrong.
Just say, my favorite foods are pizza, pasta, and salad. Simple.
And 2 more quick fixes that will instantly make your writing feel more polished. First, an easy one. People are always who, they're never that. Second, making sure your subject and verb agree. This gets tricky in long sentences. The key is to play detective and find the true subject. In this example, the subject isn't problems, it's the single word's source. So the verb has to be singular too. The source was. It's a small detail, but it makes a big difference.
So, we've sharpened our words, we've fixed the repetition, we've cleaned up the grammar. But why? What's the real point of all this? These aren't just a bunch of random rules. All of these skills are working together for a much bigger goal, to help you find and refine your unique writing voice.
Your voice isn't about what you say. It's about how you say it. It's your rhythm, your word choices, your sense of humor. It's the you-ness in your writing, and it's the one thing that makes your work truly stand out as authentic and original. Nothing shows this better than comparing 2 of the greats. On the left, you've got Hemingway. His writing is bam, 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 short, clean, direct. On the right, you've got Faulkner. His writing is this long, winding river of words that you can just get lost in. Both are brilliant, but their voices could not be more different. And this, right here, is the most important thing to remember. Good editing isn't about erasing your personality or making your writing sound boring and generic. It's the exact opposite. It's about clearing away all the clutter, the vague words, the awkward phrases, the distracting mistakes, so that your true voice can finally shine through, loud and clear. So what's the first step you're going to take? Are you going to go on a filler word hunt? Or maybe read your next draft out loud? Whatever you choose, remember that every little edit you make isn't just a correction. It's an act of discovery, and it's one step closer to finding your voice and sharing it with the world.